Once more, without the oops. Okay. Good evening. It's Friday, October 14th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source producing politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole. What separates our show from other Millennial news podcasts?
Yeah, we got really amazing Mexican food, and we have an electric fence that'll blow the other Millennial podcast hosts' pubes off if they come for it.
Fair.
Get at my food.
I thought you were telling me they didn't have pubes.
Probably not. Dang.
We have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. BoomerRex himself.
Yeah, good evening.
That was actually one of the fun
Again.
things we learned when we were looking up differences between the generations.
Really?
Millennials had the most sexual partners of any generation.
Which is impressive.
They averaged at like 15 or 20.
Allow me to say God knows why.
The same reason everyone did. We were all young and cute.
Yeah, we were too.
Yeah.
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm still learning. That's three unique perspectives we share along with the facts from our literal round table. I have no intro for you tonight, so we're just going to jump right on in. Cells like games too. Tell me about this.
So it turns out they've got a little dish with brain cells in it. And those brain cells had been taught to play Pong.
Any good?
They're okay. They don't miss much.
Probably better than
The
me.
game's pretty simple. The paddle's pretty big. But
That can change.
so they have the inputs from the video, right? And they have the outputs to control the pad, but they didn't do anything with them. So they occasionally twitched them and played with them or whatever. So anyway, they discovered they could reward brain cells by playing them a predictable electrical sequence. Brain cells apparently like predictable.
I wonder if that's what makes the dum-dum news work.
Yeah, it could be.
The predictability of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you've heard it before. It's comforting.
I would
hear it
love to
again.
have somebody competent take a look at that, because I'll bet you there is a
Yeah, I bet you're right.
peak and flow and
Yeah. Anyway, and if they didn't do the right thing, then they fed them white noise. Right. So anyway, they decided they liked the structured message and learned to play Pong.
hell yeah.
So there's a
We should
video of
weaponize
them
the
playing
shit out of
Pong. I feel a little odd about that, but what can I say?
We used to use animals.
Yeah, I know.
This is wildly better-ish than tying burning branches to cats and chickens.
I suppose. Did we tie burning branches to
Humans did,
why?
because they'd run along the thatched roofs of the villages.
Ah,
Just the big fiery thing was chasing them.
oh, I like that.
All right, let's move on to Putin v. Ukraine. How's the war going?
So anyway, remember Iran wasn't around to vote on the condemnation of the Russians. So they said today if the whole body of the resolution was focused on condemnation of the annexation, etc., etc., this is Iran trying to find its way back into the world community. I want to remind you that Iran is busy selling these drones to the Russians that they're using to kill Ukrainians.
Yep.
And I think we should probably fix that factory.
Yep.
Turn it into smoke and no two stones upon the other.
Eh?
We could even throw in a little salt.
Give them the option.
I say take something first and then give them the option.
Doable, but they get to set their jaw and be attacked from the outside, which allows them to consolidate, makes all of their people who are kind of iffy on this girls' uprising thing have to pick a side, and between nationalism and I don't want my daughter killed by the secret police, I don't know which way they're going to jump. But if we tell them they're done shipping drones to Russia, we're going to start fucking with shit. Because we can't fight a war with Russia. We've got like murder balls, so we might take that out on you.
Yep. Okay, I like that.
You know what we're like. Sometimes we just pick countries who weren't even doing shit and jump on them. We haven't liked you for a while. Rawr.
You might
We've
have
been
a
looking-
war.
We've been looking for a reason to punch you in the face.
Yeah. Well, and part of it is I want to fuck the Saudis, which means I'm probably going to need to get the Iranians more back in play.
Yeah, okay.
Because, right. Well, what are we going to fix? Venezuela? Yeah, let's go have an adventure in South America. That's always worked out great for us.
Yeah.
Right.
We can make the aircraft that do it carry the Saudi colors.
Ah,
It'd be perfect. Anyway, so Putin is stumbling around going, he has no regrets about the missile barrage. And you know, what's happening now is unpleasant, and he sees there's no need for further massive strikes in the Ukraine, at least for now. Yes, Pootie boy, we knew you were out of missiles, right? And this is a nice way to try to cover it up for your idiotic population. But anyway, we understand.
We should bomb his pool. In that really nice fucking house he's got, and where the fuck ever he's got his palace.
Yeah.
There's a pool. Then we
Okay.
should take all the bomb guts out of a bomb and fill it with concrete and just punch a hole in the bottom of his pool, because fuck you. That's why, buddy. Is your fucking Doom Fortress somewhere on Earth? Then we can fuck it up.
Well, I would say that with how unhinged he is, I'm not sure I'd be pressing those buttons.
Fair. There is a part of me
Normally, I'm all for this type of shit. I really am. But I worry that Putin is extremely unpredictable.
I want one of those Lockheed missiles that's like the stabby robot from Futurama, and I want to fuck up the chair he was sitting in the day before with a thing that says "Wish you were here," and a picture of him being there yesterday, just like that. Knock it off.
Yep. So it turns out the Western sanctions are working, right? The Russians are having a great deal of trouble replenishing their supplies of more modern weapons because they depend on electronics that they cannot get with the
How
sanctions in place.
Do you build a military with weapons you can't produce yourself?
Well, that's back when they thought they were part of Europe
Okay,
and not an outcast nation
Two
of
things.
barbarians.
one, I need to know if that's true for other countries. If I had known that before all of this, I would not have rated Russia as highly as a threat as I did. Right? I believe they could manufacture their own shit.
Yeah.
And two,
Apparently
I really
not.
want someone to go around and check and make sure that's not true for us.
Absolutely. But anyway, they're trying to use their kleptogarchs to get around the sanctions with, fake companies and so forth and so on.
Aye.
Which tells me that what needs to go into Putin's pool are some kleptogarchs chained to cinder blocks, alive.
Fair.
And so Putin gets up in the morning and finds kleptogarch soup.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
No, they should meet an unbelievable array of fake little new companies that are more than willing to help them. They just need to have a meeting to set it all up.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're the reason that...
Gotta talk to the head man.
Yeah.
Right. Now you got it.
Motherfucker, your country is under active sanctions. I don't believe any of you, and I don't trust you to pay me in gold. So I'm going
show
to...
up with
yeah.
the money, and we're going to
And
have
a
a
man
meeting.
who actually can conceivably have that money, or we're not talking, and you need weapons way more than I need to sell to a crazy person.
Right. So, but if I'm going to take this risk, so is your guy.
I mean, we are the reason the International Criminal Court has an overnight drop box, and maybe sometimes we just keep
Imagine
the
how
fucking
he's going to
shitheads.
feel when whatever personal security he brings with him just dies.
Yeah.
And he's standing there in the middle of the room, surrounded by dead bodyguards.
Yep.
And somebody walks forward and says, "Turn around, I have the cuffs to put on."
Right? No, I would
Just
vanish
after
him.
you get the cuffs on, you get to lean forward and say, "I'm not from the government."
No.
Nobody will ever.
Tomorrow
know
we're going to
where you
Brazil, and you're going to close out all of your accounts.
Fair. All
live.
right.
If you live that long.
Let's move on to just fuck 'em.
Oh, this is great. John Eastman wanted the court to tell the FBI to give him his phone back. I love it.
If there's something on your phone, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, assume that if they take your phone, they have your phone.
Yeah.
Everything on.
Yep.
Because there's no earthly conceivable reason why they can't clone it from the outside and then just guess a bazillion times.
So anyway, the court told him to go fuck himself. So this is excellent.
Good.
They weren't even particularly nice about it. So remember that the phone was seized as part of an investigation into efforts by former President Donald Trump's allies to overturn the presidential election.
To
And-
overthrow democracy in the United States.
Absolutely. And Eastman had already told Trump what they were doing
It
was
wasn't an
illegal.
election.
So
I mean,
Right.
it was an election, but I'm not offended by doing it. Right? An election is the thing that governments do. Voting is the thing that peoples do. You
Right.
want to overturn the voting.
Right. Which is the important part. I feel.
So anyway, it turns out, you remember Judge Eileen Cannon, the Trumpissy bitch?
Oh.
Yeah. The DOJ has officially appealed her appointment of a special master.
Good.
It was thin reasoning when she did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's
Everybody
only
was
made it thinner
shocked
with her
for
succeeding
both
argument.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
And she's clearly Trumpissy. Anyway.
No, but it's going to take a while for me to retool, right? I was designed rhetorically to fight, right,
Smarter people?
Roberts and other Federalist,
Yeah.
right, soulless creatures, but who still have to use rhetoric and reality.
Yeah.
Right,
And
they've
you're
got to
up
pretend that
against-
cutting taxes on bosses will have them invest and create new companies, which will create a whole new array of jobs and all of the underlying, right, HR specialists and things you need.
Yeah, all that stuff that's not true.
Oh yeah, no, turbo
No.
not true.
Trickle down never worked.
Nope, and we've tried it like a lot.
Yeah, we
austerity doesn't work. We've tried it like a lot.
Yeah. Might want to try taxing the rich.
No, or we can look at it the other way.
Otherwise, we can eat them.
America absolutely does have state planning. It's just called the defense budget.
True. So anyway, let's move on to the usual Ohio scum.
The fuck they do now?
Turns out J.D. Vance had a big fundraising exercise planned in Ohio. Yeah, he's had to cancel it because the guy who was hosting it was one of the people specifically cited for having made mountains of money pushing opioids.
Oh, yeah.
So again, this complete lack of morality just is the
Yeah.
signature of the GOP. So,
I heard an
anyway.
interesting term for the ideology, and I'll have to look it up. But I think it may be onto something, and I think 73 may be the turning point, because that's apparently when the wage growth stops by 80%,
Okay.
and a bunch of other things. So,
Okay.
and I think there's definitely some momentum depending on where you were in the
Spectrum.
wave. Yeah. But we'll have to look. Because that still fits with our previous theory of something between end of 70s and mid 80s.
Broke.
Yeah.
Yep.
And bad and accelerating.
Yep. We'll have to look at when the attacks on the unions started.
Before that, based on the tax code, but it really hadn't started to bite and take.
Yeah.
Right, because again, they had margin. So. But 73 would fit with the rest, because that's right. You've got the women beginning to enter the workforce in real numbers. But anyway, we'll look and see.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to Boomer Rex's About Damn Time. Tell me the good news.
I was hoping they'd get around to this. Federal prosecutors have recommended a prison sentence of roughly 4 years for a Pennsylvania man who pleaded guilty to assaulting an Associated Press photographer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
At the January 6th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what he gets for a sentence, but the recommendation is 46 months followed by 3 years of probation. So
Yeah, about right.
Yeah, I'm
I
done.
agree.
All right, who's our dumbass of the day?
Oh, I love this. So Republican Attorney General Mark Brnovich has asked the IRS and the FBI to review the financials of the conservative nonprofit group True the Vote for raising money on false statements about widespread voter fraud.
Yep. Let's go.
In an open letter signed by Chief Special Agent Reggie Grigsby of the Special Investigations Section of the Arizona Attorney General's Office, the letter says the letter was submitted for review and potential action. And we'll see what goes. But they collected a lot of money on false pretenses, and there's no accounting for where it went. And I'll tell you what, if you're a 501c3, you probably should play it straight, because when they come for you, they're going to hurt you.
Here's fucking hoping.
Yeah.
All right, Marjorie Taylor Greene's smokescreen of the day.
So, little Maggie is defending InfoWars host Alex Jones I'm saying it's just First Amendment. He can say anything he wants to about Sandy Hook Elementary School and so forth and so on. But while she was arguing freedom of speech, her most famous intern, Milo Yiannopoulos, is telling his followers on Telegram that the U.S. should ban blasphemy and institute meaningful penalties for insulting, irreverent, or contemptuous language about our Lord.
Fuck God and his blown out asshole.
Yeah.
And Milo.
Fuck your non-existent guy.
Ah, yeah.
His blown out asshole.
Imaginary, delusionary.
Delusional.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
D-O-V-O.
Illusory and delusional. One of them's the...
Yeah.
So.
Killer in Jason.
Yep.
All right. Updates with Boomer Rex health threat.
So this one we're just hitting again. CDC says the flu season is underway very early and very sharply. Specifically, you look to schools because that's where flu spreads, right?
That's where all the gross humans are gross and touch each other. Well, I mean, and orgies, but orgies are hard to get surveys from.
So the San Diego Unified School District says 1,000 absences on Wednesday
Jesus.
out of their 2,600 students.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a vaccine for flu. There's a vaccine for COVID. You should probably go get them. But what the hell? That's up to you.
Shouldn't you be getting
Do your
yours?
thing. What?
Shouldn't you be getting stabbed with needles at some point here?
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Probably us too, but
Yep.
I like
for
that part
sure.
less.
Climate weirding?
So for the first time ever, crews in Alaska will not be braving ice and sea spray to pluck snow
Damn.
crabs from the Bering Sea. The snow crab season has been canceled.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's the financial impact is huge,
Oh yeah.
but to a very small portion of their population, which is sad, right? It's a handful of people who are just going to be wiped out. But so they think they know why. In 2018, they had a huge spike in the small crab inventory.
Oh shit.
Right? You can't harvest them when they're little.
Yeah.
So it turns out they spend the summer very deep and in cold water pools on the bottom of the ocean. But 2019 and 2020 were very warm. And again, Alaska's warming faster than, right, because it's near the North Pole, et cetera, et cetera. And then in 2021, they noticed a crash in the number of small crabs. So they think what happened is that in 2018, there were lots of them. They didn't all fit in the cold pools and they couldn't find anything to eat, so they died.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was an uptick this year in small crabs. And if we leave them alone long enough, they'll grow into harvestable population if they make it.
Yeah.
Right? So anyhow, just another example of what climate weirding is going to be doing to us.
Well, and I'm more concerned that follows, and again, I don't have enough data to make it, but somebody was writing an article about the death of a lake, and it doesn't just peter out. The waves get bigger on both sides. So if you get wild spikes in predators and wild spikes in prey, as you get this drift in between what's perfect for either, and one responding to the other, and then zero.
Right. There's some discussion as to whether the crabs have moved, further into the colder water or even gone over the shelf into deeper, colder water.
The big ones have gone north. That's where they went crabbing last year. They had to go much further north. But the cold pools are what are critical to the crabs.
Right.
So.
Which makes me wonder if we couldn't, Army Corps of Engineers some deeper pools, but
30 kiloton device. Dig a hole in a big hurry.
Yeah, but convert a lot of it to radioactive plasma as well.
Yeah, and it's in contact and in the water.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be good. So anyhow, again, the point behind climate weirding is it can bite you from nearly any direction, right? Places you never thought about.
Yep.
And suddenly be a huge deal. In this case, for a relatively small population of crabbers and the towns that support them.
Yeah.
But hey.
Well, and leaning into systems that we have developed that are at their max capacity, right? Our whatever resiliency we had previously built in, we are now well into using and past in some places.
Oh, yeah.
So we are relying on things going well, and that is the point where you are truly damned.
Yeah. How many people froze to death in Texas?
We'll ever know.
But hundreds.
This is for the 20 whichever freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be good.
What is it?
I found an article I'm going to read.
Excellent. Out loud?
Yeah.
Anytime.
Oh, are you ready for it now? Well, I thought he was looking something up to answer a question. So
246, yeah.
Okay.
I have nothing while I'm typing and doing.
Yeah, well, that's why I was getting them excited for what I was going to say after you said your thing. See, they're excited now. They're overly excited. It's like Halloween, scary boo time. All you have to do is go boo.
Not the 246 hick sticks, but...
They're all clustered around their radios with their ears to the speaker waiting.
All right.
Two blondes that died. They went to stay closed for the winter.
Oh my god. You're gonna kill me. Literally. Right? Alright, businessinsider.com
It's the best kind.
shared an article. Elon Musk would get really angry when his employees at his first company, Zip2, weren't still working at 9 o'clock at night, an ex-colleague told BBC documentary. So this is written by Sami Tabariri. I'm gonna stick to that pronunciation.
I don't have a better one.
So, it says, Elon Musk would get very angry when his employees at his first company were still not working after 9 p.m., a former colleague said in the documentary. The Elon Musk story uses interviews with his family, friends, employees, and enemies to explain his rise to become the world's richest man.
They're all the same.
First episode was broadcast in the UK Wednesday night. Jim Abrams, who was a vice president at Zip2, said Musk would go around the office well into the evening, looking to see who was sitting at their cubes. When there weren't many people sitting at their cubes, it was 9 p.m. And his face turned red. He was really angry that the entire company wasn't there in the office at 9 o'clock at night, Abrams added. Zip2, which provided online city guide software to newspapers, was founded in Palo Alto by Musk and his brother Kimball in 1995 as Global Link Information Network in 1995. It was bought by Compaq 4 years later to boost its Alta Vista search engine and netted Elon and Kimball $22 million and $15 million respectively, according to Ash Vance's 2015 book, Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and The Quest for a Fantastic Future, except he hasn't done anything to help the...
No, they're almost all scumbags standing on a big pile of government data.
Sorry, back to the story.
Yeah,
Brandon Spikes, a system engineer at Zip2, also interviewed for the documentary, described Musk as an unusual fellow who would work late and then sleep under his desk. He also called the South African know-it-all who thought he knew just about everything. Elon Musk's mother, May, who also appears in the BBC documentary, said that when he was young, she would struggle to wake him up in the morning because he would stay up all night reading books. She said she would dress him while he was still half asleep. Musk runs Tesla and SpaceX alongside two smaller startups, Neuralink and the Boring Company.
Yeah.
In 2019, he was ranked the most blah blah blah. However, he told a December 2021 episode of the Lex Friedman podcast not to try to be a leader for the sake of being a leader. The people you want as leaders are the people who don't want to be leaders. What? And that's the end of the fucking article.
Yep.
Again, it's the same way that Google got lost in their idiot questionnaires they used to do, and that little idiot truism isn't wrong. It's just vapid. Because the people that want to be in charge, the people who are really looking to be over other people, are almost exactly the list of humans that must never be.
Right.
But
that's different than somebody who
Yeah.
aspires to be a good manager.
yeah, no, exactly. And fucking Musk wouldn't know either. It sounds like he's the bad kind, so he's universally incapable of recognizing competency.
Well, I mean, on top of this, we already have talked before about the fact that he made his workers in China or Asia somewhere work like 24, 48-hour shifts, and he thought that him staying at the thing and being awake with them was the same thing as making them work on the line for his fucking getting the new Tesla out. Like, it was insane. He's just crazy.
He
thinks that him being there is the same as doing the work that people are doing.
It's the same thing you see in all of the high risk, high reward stuff, right? Drug cartels have the same thing, right? High end traders are going to have the same thing of the always being available, the worst of corporate culture, and because if it works out, everybody's going to have a Bentley, but with less payoff than drugs, and it's not more risk, but it's ruination if you're not. And historically, we've seen they band together and make these deals where they don't hire each other's workers. So it's all for the Musk types. It's all for the two idiots that were running Google.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's where we're going to leave you this Friday night, on a wonderful note about how shitty Elon Musk is. Not that any of us are surprised.
We're surprised. Right.
This sounds like everything I've heard about him. This does not sound like something off the rails or whatever. So
Give us $1. Get to hear our actual opinions on stuff and horror movies.
that too. So don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review,
Smash that like button on YouTube.
Go to BoomerRexTonight No Spaces on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerX, or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. Hit us up on Twitter at BoomerRexTonight, and if you Google BoomerRexTonight No Spaces, all links will lead you to us. We love you all. Have an amazing weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday for Just the News.
Bye.
Good night, y'all.
Bye.